The Arizona Diamondbacks are officially entering the pre-postseason, which means that every series is an elimination series.
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, the show where we talk nothing but the Diamondbacks Monday through Friday. And thank you so much for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I am your host, Diamondbacks. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Today, for our comment shout out, I wanted to shout out another time, Devin Pattison. I'm going to get your name right at some point on my first try, I promise. But I was bringing up yesterday's show about how I would not be listening to podcasts about the Diamondbacks after a tough loss, like Game 3 against the Giants. And Devin said, tough to watch broadcasts after a loss, but that's part of it. Love my Snakes, so we out here. I, again, tip my cap to you, Devin. I have to literally do it because I'm wearing a cap. Again, if you guys are just listening to this, I actually tipped the cap. So it's definitely tough to listen to the radio and to shows and things like that after a loss, but it's good to hear, and it's good. I'm glad I'm in the position I'm in because that means that I am kind of forced to do that. So it's actually been pretty good. And the thing that's nice about it is even in the losses, there's a lot of things to pull out and be excited about. So that's been fun. Hopefully we don't have to do that too much here in the next 2 weeks, but there's a good chance that we may end up having to do that. So let's go for it. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming series against the Phillies by the numbers. We are going to be hearing from you guys and what you guys have to say about the Diamondbacks. But before we do that, let's go ahead and look at the updated playoff picture, because while we didn't play yesterday, most of the other teams did, which we were a game ahead of most of the other teams, at least the ones in contention. So we only had 9 games left as of yesterday. Most of the other teams had 10 games left. So yesterday was their catch-up game. And so now we shouldn't see any or very many half-game differences anymore. Should be full game differences. So let's go ahead and take a look at where that puts us. So the Mets, unfortunately, beat the Padres. They won that series against the Padres. That was one of the series I was banking on them losing. So that doesn't bode very well. The Mets are going to play the Nationals next, which the Nationals don't have a great record in general and don't have a great record against the Mets either. So that was one that I was counting on the Mets winning. Hopefully the Nationals, no, they definitely don't like the Mets. Hopefully they can pull something out and at least avoid the sweep, which is what I was counting on anyway. But if they can make up for the Padres not being able to win their series, that would be massive. The Reds beat the Cubs yesterday, which is their next series that they're playing. So that's also not very good. The Cubs are a very good team, so I'm kind of hoping that they can curb the Reds from advancing any further. Luckily, the Giants did lose against the Dodgers. It wasn't a blowout game by any means. The Dodgers definitely were sweating the whole time, and I was watching that game. So it's weird to watch a Dodgers game from the Dodgers broadcast. Very strange. I felt like I was just on the wrong side. It felt very strange. I didn't like it. So now we are all on the same game. We all have 9 games left, which makes it a little easier. So we are currently tied with the Reds, 2 games behind the final wild card spot behind the Mets, and the Giants are now 3 games behind the final wild card spot. We do hold the tiebreaker against the Giants if we end up tying for that wild card spot, but we do not have it against the Reds. Unfortunately, they swept us in a 4-game series in the very beginning of the season. So we don't have it on them. So we definitely do need to beat them. We need to win each of our upcoming series. Again, this is basically the postseason. Each of these series needs to be treated like the first round of the postseason. It's an elimination series, because if we lose any of these series, we're essentially out. There's not really any feasible way we could come back, barring some extreme collapse by the Mets, which they just had a big collapse. Typically, teams don't have a big collapse, figure it out, and then have another big collapse immediately after. So I think we can expect the Mets to play pretty middle of the road from here on out, which is unfortunate. But I think that's what's going to happen. So we need to up our game in these next 3 series. So we basically need to go 6-3 for the last 9 games here. The Mets, if we go 6-3, though, that means the Mets need to go 4-5 of their next 9 games. So they still need to lose more games than they win. And that would end up with us tying with them. And I had to look it up, and it was a lot of numbers and weird rules and stuff. But basically, we currently hold the tiebreaker over the Mets. We're 3-3 in the season series against the Mets, but because of interdivisional series wins and things like that, we technically have the upper hand against the Mets. So we just need to tie with the Mets, and we're in. So that's at least kind of nice. We need the Reds out, but if we can tie with either the Giants or the Mets, then we're good. The other thing that was kind of interesting, kind of dumb. This is me showing my cards as like a hopeless Diamondbacks fan, but it occurred to me that in theory, if we do win the next 2 series, so we go 4-2 against the Phillies and the Dodgers, if the Padres, you see where I'm going here, if the Padres have a big collapse and they only win 1 of their next 6 games, then we could sweep them in that final series against them and take their place in the wild card and knock them out of contention, because then we would tie with them and we would have the tiebreaker because of that final sweep. So now the Padres are facing the White Sox today, and then the Brewers, and then us. So their series against the Brewers, there's a possibility they could get swept, especially if they're like just after their series against the Mets are just like, we're floundering and we can't win anymore. The White Sox, if they lose their series against the White Sox, I'll bring this up again and we can talk about it. Otherwise, I'm not going to worry about this anymore. I also saw that technically, if the Dodgers lose every single game from here until the rest of the season, and we won every single game for the rest of the season, we could win the division still. So that's just, I'm sorry, I've always done that. Don't let that, none of this is real. I'm not giving anybody hope here. Okay. I'm not giving myself hope. It's just kind of silly to think about. So, I mean, we've won 9 games in a row before, and the Dodgers have lost 9 games in a row before. I don't know when. I'm not going to look it up, but it's happened before. Anyway, let's go ahead and start talking about the upcoming series against the Phillies. But before that, real quick, we are going to take a small break, and then we will break that series down. This episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com and use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. You must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's Zippix Toothpicks. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. I'm realizing listening back to the podcast that sometimes I like hit the intro thing a little too quick and it cuts off my last word. So I'm trying to be better about that. I don't think I did a very good job that last go. but for the next go, I'll try. Anyway, we have this series against the Phillies. They have clinched their division, so they're in. They would like to secure home field advantage, I'm sure. So they still have reason to play, but they are in. So, and they're very likely to at least secure home field advantage for everything unless they face the Brewers. So, and actually it looks like they're 3 games behind the Brewers. So I don't know that they're even really counting on that. So I'm hoping they kind of take it easy a little bit. They rest up a little bit. We don't want any of them to get injured before the playoffs, you know. We don't want to strain anybody. So just give them their reps and then go sit them down, you know. That's what I'm not counting on that. Neither are the Diamondbacks, neither should they. But that's a element to consider. The Phillies currently have a 15.8% chance to win the World Series, and we currently have a 4.8% chance to make the playoffs. So this is an underdog story if I've ever heard one. You know, this is an Angels in the outfield. Insert other sport movie here with underdog story. But they have won the last 8 of their last 10 games. We have won 5 of our last 10. They have 743 runs scored this year. 743. And I was not expecting this. This is quite the surprise to me. But we actually have more than that. They have 743. We have 758, which is kind of a surprise. I didn't check and see what the last month or two has been, because I'm sure a lot of that was Gino Suarez and Josh Naylor. But still, the fact that we have more runs scored than the Phillies was kind of a surprise. Now, this one's not so much of a surprise. They have allowed 619 runs this season. We have allowed 731 runs. So their pitching has been considerably better than ours this year. So that doesn't bode super well for us. So if our offense can show up and match their pitching, which their pitching is going to be Taijuan Walker, Nola, and I have the names right here. I didn't write it down again because I didn't think I would need it, but here I am. And this is embarrassing because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm just scrolling through the show notes of past ones. And then Ranger Suarez. Sorry about that. So Taijuan Walker, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez. Taijuan Walker and Aaron Nola have not been very good lately. We did play against Aaron Nola once this year, and he did shut us down for 6 innings. But he has not been doing very well since. And Taijuan Walker, not doing super well either. Ranger, I'm a lot more nervous about, but the other two, I think if we can get a sizable lead to start things out, that would be amazing. And then let's look at this as well. Their starting pitching ERA on the season is 3.57, which is 3rd in the league. Walker has an ERA of 4.17. So his is considerably higher than the team's average ERA. Our starting pitching ERA is 4.45. So it's almost a whole point higher than theirs is. That puts us at 23rd in the league. But if you look at just the last month, because I think our pitching has improved significantly over the last month, their pitching also a little bit better. Their pitching is 3.12. Ours is 3.75. So that closes the gap considerably. It went from 4.45 to 3.75. So it is much better than it has been, but it's not the same as theirs, which of course, the numbers are what they are and doesn't necessarily decide games. We learned that from Moneyball, right? You can build a team, but you won't necessarily win that. But then Ryan Nelson, his ERA is 3.34. So his is lower than the team's collective ERA, both over the season and in the last month, and lower than Walker's. So that's kind of exciting. Now here's the really interesting part. Let's look at the relief pitching ERA. For the Phillies, their relief pitching, remember their starting is 3.57. Their relief pitchers are 4.38. That is 22nd in the league. So they went from their starting is 3rd in the league, and their relief pitcher, their bullpen, is 22nd. So there's a huge fall right there. In the last month, it's been a bit better at 3.82. But ours over the last month, our bullpen has been 3.72. So it's 0.1 higher or 0.1 lower than theirs is. So our bullpen has been doing better than theirs is at the very least. So if we can tack on some offense, some runs with their starting rotation, and then continue to tack on runs with their bullpen, and we might really be able to stand a chance here. Their collective batting average is 259, which is 3rd in the league. Ours is 251. So it's not much further back. We're 10th in the league. Their on-base percentage is 330, which is also 3rd. Ours is 324, which is 8th. So we draw more walks in relation to them than they do. We reach base a little bit more often because they were 3rd and 3rd. We're 10, and then on base percentage we go up to 8th. So that's kind of nice. That's a bit promising. The Phillies do not walk very many people. I did look into that. I don't have the numbers in front of me because it was discouraging and I didn't want to add it into the show. But they don't walk very many people. They do strike out a lot of people. I was hoping for like a high walk rate. The Dodgers have a very high walk rate. But the Phillies, unfortunately, their pitching is pretty tight. So hopefully the fact that we're facing 2 of their less good pitchers in this series gives us a good chance to win this. Another thing, their winning percentage on the road is .513. So a little bit over 50%. Their home win percentage is .680. So they play way better in Philadelphia than they do on the road. That was also where they beat us in the series 2-1. So, but at home, we are .533 as opposed to .474 on the road. So if we're just like looking at, okay, well, we're .533 at home, they're .513 away. I don't hate those numbers. I don't hate that at all. So we'll know more as well after tonight because a lot of this depends on Ketel Marte showing up, Corbin Carroll being able to be clutch, which he has been clutch over the last handful of games. He's been doing a lot better. Perdomo has been killing it. He needs to continue to do so. His last game, not so great. Of course, offense wasn't great on everybody with Fott and Verlander pitching incredible games. But if those 3 can really turn up, if Moreno can continue to do what he's been doing, and then our other guys are Blaze Alexander, Del Castillo, McCann is probably not going to be playing tonight, but he will most likely play with Gallen tomorrow. And then, if Jake McCarthy can really pull out some really great offense, and I'm forgetting somebody very crucial, but yeah, if Alek Thomas can perform very well, if we can get a handful of people that can just really show up for this series, then that I think will be enough for us to make it happen. And if we can win this series, then we go up against the Dodgers with a ton of momentum, ready to go, and the Dodgers are not as good as the Phillies, which is awesome. So that'd be nice. And then the Padres, not as good as the Dodgers. So in theory, if we can win this series, it makes next series a little bit easier, then would make the next series a little bit easier. Anyway, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with your comments. We're going to be hearing from you guys. Once again, please leave your thoughts in the comments. I pool them together, and whenever there's an off day, I pull a few of my favorites. So please leave your comments and your thoughts in the comment section of the YouTube videos, because that's the only way I can really read them. So if you're just listening to this, go find us on YouTube at Locked On Diamondbacks. But anyway, we will be right back. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. It's quick, easy, and honestly my favorite way to follow along with football. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On MLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Okay, you guys, like I said, please leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear them on the YouTube channel and any of the YouTube videos. That's been so fun. This is the end of my second week, and to see slowly kind of more and more people rolling out is kind of it's funny. I'm not gonna get like super sentimental, but it's so fun to be able to see as slowly we kind of get used to each other. And you go, oh, okay, this Danon guy's all right. Or maybe you're like, this Danon guy's a weirdo and I don't know why I'm still listening. I don't know why you're still listening if you don't like me very much, but it is fun to get to converse with you guys and talk with you guys and see some of you guys popping up regularly. It's pretty fun. So please do let me know what you think. But we're going to start things off with Jesus. And he has a question that I've been thinking about since he posted it. I think it was 2 days ago. It says, "Hey Danon, would you consider putting Gabby ahead of Marte in the lineup, or anyone else for that matter? He's been bad." He has been bad, and he is really struggling with his swing right now. You can tell, like, he's just trying everything. He's taking ugly swings. He's swinging at pitches that he doesn't normally swing at or wouldn't normally swing at, and the contact he's making, he pops up nearly every time, and if he's not popping up, it's a soft grounder. Sometimes you'll have a player like Carroll who's struggled over the last couple weeks, but when he makes contact, it's loud contact, and he'll line it foul, or he'll line it right at the third baseman, or it'll be a line drive out or something like that. And so you're like, okay, well, he's just having trouble placing the ball, putting the ball where he wants it, but he's at least still there. His swing is still working. He's still good. He's just unlucky. But Marte seems like it's kind of more fundamental than that. And it's the sort of thing that he can figure out in a day if it works out. Like if he has an amazing game tonight, that may be all he needs, and then he's good. He just needs to get that first home run again, and then he's back and he's ready to go. Do I think we should put anybody ahead of Marte in the lineup? I don't know that it would really make much of a difference. I think having him where he is about as good a place to put it. If you're going to put him in the game at all, I think where he's at, he's usually in the number 2 spot. Go ahead and leave him there. Sometimes he's in the number 3 spot. Go ahead and leave him there, I suppose. It's kind of demoralizing when your first 3 guys go out, like in the first inning, bottom of the first is 1, 2, 3 out. But and then the second inning starts with Moreno, which I like, and he's able to usually get things started. Moreno, Alexander, and so I think leave him where he is, unless you're going to just sit him for the day. Like I think that's probably the thing to do. Let him sit and maybe bring him in for a pinch hitter as a pinch hitter or something like that. But yeah, he's struggling. But I am seeing more emotion from him. It's not positive emotion, to be fair, but it doesn't look like he's just resentful and down, like, and ready for the season to be over. He, I think that he is really trying. I don't think he's like checked out. I think he has kind of been checked out, but I think he's kind of getting back into the right headspace, and I'm hoping to see tonight a new Ketel Marte, because if we don't, there's a very low chance that we're going to win the series. So he kind of has to show up. All right, another one from Paul Backer. You didn't correct me on my pronunciation of your name, so I'm going to assume it's Paul Backer. But he said, "Gosh, my heart is even more sore." We were talking about our hearts being sore from beating so hard. "My heart is even more sore. Thanks for the shout out. I can agree with you, definitely. I just have high hopes again." So we're talking about how, the Diamondbacks, they're the underdogs. If they're going to make it, it's going to be high pressure. It's going to come down to the very last game. And then he says, "And way to go, Perdomo. I hope he is top 3 in MVP voting. He has been ecstatic and fought with the gem of a pitching game. I hope he's proud of that and brings that to the next game." I know if Fott can close out the season just with that energy, that would be incredible. And then if we do go to the postseason, then we have playoffs Brandon Fott there, and we're good to go. But yeah, so Fott's been great. Perdomo, I know that's weird. I didn't really think about it much, but he kind of has a case. If the Diamondbacks were to make the postseason and they were to do a little bit of a run, I think Perdomo has a really good shot at getting at least MVP recognition. But I did look at the numbers and how he ranks in the National League, and he is up there in a lot of these. Here's a handful. This isn't even all of them. These is a handful of stats that he sits in the top 10. For batting average, he has 289, a 289 batting average, which is 5th in the National League. And that's behind like Ohtani, Soto, Freddie Freeman, incredible players that are household names. And then there's Geraldo Perdomo in the 5th spot. Also in the 5th spot, he has 97 RBIs. If he were to get 3 more RBIs tonight, that would tie him at 3rd place. So he could jump 2 places if he gets 3 more RBIs. Speaking of 3rd place, his on-base percentage is .391. So more than a third of the time, and think about that, more than a third of the time he gets on base. So if you're going to be facing him, there's a 1 in 3 chance, more than a 1 in 3 chance that he's going to make it to first base. Not always by a hit, but he's going to make it. The only 2 that are ahead of him, by the way, are Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto, who has 395 and 394 respectively. So it's 395, 394, 391. So he's only 0.004% behind the number 1 spot, which is the most famous baseball player in the league right now. So that's kind of crazy. He's got 95 runs, which is 8th in the National League. He has a full season, 162 hits, which is 7th. Just for reference, Ohtani and Machado both have 164, so just 2 more than him. And he is 4th in the National League in walks. He has 91 walks. He could get 100 walks, which I don't know how crazy that is. But the people who are ahead of him, this one kind of blew me away. The people ahead of him are in order: Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, and Kyle Schwarber. Massive power hitters. They're pitching around them because they're afraid of them. They come up and you're like, just give them a base. Like this, we're going to be very careful around them. They're Barry Bonds type batters. And then you have Geraldo Perdomo right behind him, which is just crazy to me because they're not pitching around Perdomo. He makes them work. And he if it's in the zone, he fouls it off. And then if it's out of the zone, he takes it. And then it's in the zone 2 or 3 more times, he fouls them off. and then a mistake and he takes it. And that happens until he walks and then he gets a hit. And at the very least, it drives up that pitch count and it sets the tone for the rest of the team. So Ohtani, Perdomo is definitely, I think, worth considering for that MVP spot. I think he definitely needs to at least be getting some votes because he has been absolutely incredible. And if he can lead the team, also the fact that he is the team captain, if he can lead the team to a playoff spot, then I think it's a no-brainer. Anyway, today is the first day of our last 3 series. Each one is essentially an elimination series. Taijuan Walker will take on Ryan Nelson tonight at Chase Field. I'll be posting updates on the YouTube channel in shorts because it is over the weekend and we don't typically post podcasts over the weekend. So if you want to be updated and hear my thoughts, I'll be posting shorts all weekend after each game. So tonight I'll post a short, tomorrow night I'll post a short, and on Sunday I'll post a short. And then on Monday, we will talk about the series as a whole. So if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, go do that. Again, it's at Locked On Diamondbacks on YouTube. And I will be back here Monday morning. We are also, as well as on YouTube, we're also everywhere where you get your podcasts. So if you need to listen to this while you're in the car, at work, something like that, we're on all those sites as well. If you want to see more of me, you can go find more of my stuff and YouTube channels and projects and fun things that I do over at slackshack.tv. Thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. My name is Damon Biggs, and I will see you on Monday.